They say all good things come to those who wait, and I must have been very, very good, because I've been waiting ages for this. Finally out from under its wraps is the all-electric VW ID Polo. Polo, meet the internet. Today I'm going to introduce you both, and I have a feeling you're going to get along. You've liked, subscribed? Of course you have. I won't mention it again, at least not until the next video. Anyway, here it is. Now this is a big moment for VW because the numbers are out and the names are back. The names that we love and cherish are returning to electric cars. Something else is back too. Proper switches. Actual buttons. How fabulous is that? Who knew that switchgear could be so exciting? But before we get inside to celebrate the return of the switch, hands up if your first car was a second-hand Polo. Yes, that is a lot of you watching out there with your hands up. I guess it has sold over 20 million over the years, so it's probably not a surprise. Now, come on then, let's take a look at what the future first car for a whole new generation and many more after that looks like. And what a lovable thing it is. I like to call it the baby spice of VW Group's upcoming range of small cars. Cute, and everyone's going to love it. You'll see what I mean when we meet all the others. So this is the first ID car designed by VW's fairly new boss of design, Andreas Mint, a man who, quite frankly, was born destined to design the new Polo. I mean, his actual name is Mint. I do hear, though, that Nick Nine has been lined up to design the new Golf. Anyway, back to Mr. Mint. So what he's done is given VW's design a real reset, which I think we can all agree it probably needed. I just think it works. It's so much more Volkswagen-y, so much more simple. So round at the side, nice big wheels. They are lovely, up to 19 inches, which is big for this class, but we do like them, it adds presence. And if you take a minute just to look at the car overall, you'll see something called stance. Designers talk a lot about stance, the way the body sits over the wheels to make it look stable. I think it has that. I love the slightly flared wheel arches. I think it just makes it look really nice and planted. The C-pillar here at the back, this makes me happy because it's inspired by the original Golf, a car that I actually owned. Not from new, I'm not that old, don't be cheeky. Before I go to the back, can we just celebrate the door handles? I really like the door handles. I was talking to the CEO of VW last night and he said he absolutely loathes pop-out handles. Really didn't like them. So here at the back, you have these lovely rear lights. They call them the whiskey glasses, which I love. And you've got the lovely illuminated light logo and also an optional badge which lights up, which mirrors the badge at the front. I just love that this looks less like an ID experiment. Let's do something different because we can and make it look a bit weird. And it just looks like a VW again. Bravo, Andreas. Your life's work, the job you were born to do, you have nailed.
Should we talk size? Well, it's just over 4 metres long and 1.8 metres wide and 1.5 metres tall. Pretty much the same size as the forthcoming Cupra Raval and the new Kia EV2. It's basically standard super mini size, although it is actually shorter than the current petrol-powered Polo. However, as with all things electric, this doesn't mean that it's going to be smaller inside.
See what I mean? It's spacious, isn't it? Apparently there's as much space in here as a Mark IV Golf. But let's forget about space because I want to celebrate all of this and this and this. The buttons, the switches, not a haptic control or a slider in sight. It is joyful. Apparently, Mr. Mint isn't a huge fan of touchscreens, and one of the first things he did was to say he was bringing back physical buttons. Thank you, Andreas. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. The screens we do have are not all bad. You just don't have to do everything through them. So you have a 10.25 inch sort of cockpit one here behind the steering wheel with all your driver information. And then there's a larger screen here. Now, if you saw Nick's prototype drive, you will know there is one feature in here that she adored and is someone who can stake claim to being the true retro member of the presenting lineup. I love it too. You flick down here, you press that, retro, and this happens. It is truly brilliant. It is based on the look and feel of the Golf Mark 1 facelift from 1980, I think. I just love the old school analogue feel to it. It's so cool. The rev counter tells you how much is left on the battery. It's absolutely brilliant. And look over here. We've got a radio. How do we get the deck up? The cassette deck. How do we get that up? Nicola had a cassette deck. Where's my cassette deck? I want a cassette deck. I feel cheated. They've taken the cassette deck. Oh, it worked. It's back. I don't like the choice of track. But I absolutely love that as much as Nick did. It is genius. It's got the little red bit. I remember running pencils through them to spool them back in. Do you remember that when the bit of magnetic tape came out? And I used to use them to record the top 40 on Sunday night, so I didn't have to go out and buy the singles. Oh, that is brilliant. But what I love most of all is the fact that it's VW bringing fun back. And that's the thing that for me, growing up with these cars, because I mean, we just had VWs as a kid. Every shape, size and model of VW we had. But they always had a sense of fun, and I remember the advertising was really fun. And that's what I feel VW had lost, and I think this is bringing it back, and I love it. Right, phew, panic over. So we've got the radio or we've got the cassette deck. That's great. We also get a choice of interiors in here. This is the top range interior. I really love this lovely light trim. So there's a GTI spec that will sit above this that we'll find out about shortly. And then the two levels below it, they're a bit black. It's not quite as nice as this, but I do love this. The cup holders are modest. I've got to say, that is a bit of a VW thing. If you like those massive, massive cups, you're not going to fit them in there. A little bit of storage down there. Got your wireless charging, decent sized door bins. But as I'm having a kind of touch and feel, it feels really nice. Doesn't feel cheap at all in any way. The build quality is lovely. I mean, I know this is the spendy model, but it feels really nice. I'm actually very impressed by this. And I do really love the buttons on the steering wheel that remind me of little sort of calculator buttons. There's just a real sense of joy in this interior. It is making me really happy. I can't wait to take my dad for a drive in this and show him that and that. Now you've got more space in the back than you did in the old Polo. Bit more legroom, bit more headroom. Seat as always is set for Manos, who is 6'2". And look, ignore the way my knees are sticking up because I've got high heel boots on, but this is actually really good. And I did also make Manos sit in the back here earlier. He's sat behind his 6'2" self. So it fitted a 6'2" Manos in the back as well, if that makes sense. Kind of makes sense to me at the time, but it's good. It's officially a 3-seater. I would add an ish onto the end of that line, because I think while you'll get 2 adults in the outer seats, you're only going to get a child in the 3rd seat. But listen, it's a small car. That's still pretty good. And if you've got the Isofix child seats being used on the 2 outer seats, it's going to be a very tight squeeze to fit anyone in the front. Let's have a look at the doors to see how loading for children in and out is going to be. You know, I'd like it to go just a little wider. I think it might be a bit awkward getting children into car seats unless you've got the ones that can swivel round to the side. But it's all right, and this is a small car. I'm being very picky here, and I actually do think that this really works as a family car. The boot is very big, particularly for a car in this class. At 435 litres, only the forthcoming Skoda Epic will be able to beat it on size. And what I like about it is it's got a nice low load lip and then a nice flat floor, and then under here is absolutely stacks of space. This has got the subwoofer for the fancy stereo, but if you don't opt for this, you can get some really clever things like storage compartments that drop in with little separations in them, really handy. It is so big in there, you could fit a person into it. Hi there, you're right. I'm not going to try it. We already did that. That's what I've got a team for. Now, the Polo might be small, but as Shakespeare may have said if he'd ever met the Polo, though she be but little, she is fierce. on the range front, up to 280 miles, which is a big number for a car like this and puts it ahead of the current leader of the pack when it comes to range, the Kia EV2. More numbers for you: 2 batteries, a 37 kilowatt hour or a 52. Power runs from 116 up to 211 horsepower and on to 220 horsepower in the GTI, which is coming later. So if you aren't already, please do subscribe to the channel if you want to know more about it. And also, I'm absolutely driving that one first, just saying, so nobody else on the team can consider that. Talking about other members of the team, Nicola has already had a first drive of a covered prototype of this car. She liked it a lot. So if you haven't already seen it, head over there as soon as you finish watching this and check out what she made of it.
Charging, that tops out at 100 kilowatts depending on the battery. It's not class leading, but it's absolutely enough for a car like this and is in line with something like the Renault 5, although the Kia EV2 will charge faster. VW reckons the 37 kilowatt hour car will charge from 10 to 80% in around 27 minutes. The bigger battery car will do the same in around 23. AC charging is 11 kilowatts, which is what you'd expect. And VW has finally caught up with the rest of the modern EV world by adding vehicle to load. So yes, you can now power your weekend with this, or whatever else takes your fancy.
So the thing we haven't talked about is pricing. So we know what it's going to cost in euros, and if we convert that figure, it comes in at around £22,000. Now, I just thought that I'd check the website today on VW UK and see how much the current Polo is. And it came in at £22,040. How spooky is that? Almost as if they planned it. And of course, that price is just a guesstimate. And fingers crossed it comes in at that, because if we have price parity between petrol and electric cars, it's going to mean that so many more people can make the switch. This is a small car with a lot resting on it. But I think what's really interesting is that VW are doing what Renault has already proved, that you can go back to your history, that you can look at these names from the past, you can have them reinvented for the electric age, that you don't need to do anything sort of special and different and ID-ish just because it's electric. I think VW has absolutely nailed this brief. This car makes me really happy. It makes me smile, it makes me want to drive it. What more do you need? That for me is the test of what a good car is. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, please do subscribe, because just saying, GTI coming soon.